Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Kubernetes for Human podcast. My name is Itiel Schwartz, and today we have at the show Hasith. Hasith, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm Hasith Kalpage, and I run platform engineering for Outshift by Cisco, which is Cisco's incubation engine.
That's cool. Tell us a bit about your background. Like, what did you do prior to being in Cisco? And then we'll talk about why does Cisco have incubation center and what do you guys do?
Y-
But let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, in a funny way, so I started my career in electronics. I did some internships in NXP Semiconductor, but then Cisco was my first job uh, as a graduate. It was actually a Norwegian startup called Tandberg, which Cisco acquired about 6-7 months into the job. And then I have since stayed at Cisco. Obviously done a lot of different roles at Cisco. Initially in quality assurance, then was always aspiring to be a software engineer. So did some of that. Then I actually got into platform domain with my quality assurance hat, because that was an area where you had a lot of issues, instability. And what happens is, when something goes wrong in the platform layer, things usually cause like major problems. Things blow up if you don't get
Mhm.
the things in the platform layer right. So that was kind of, the what nudged me towards getting involved in platform. Many platforms. I think I've been involved in probably about 9 platform efforts, um, and very
So
much good. Go ahead.
you said you've been in like 9 platform, and platform is a big word, right? Like it
Yeah.
means different things to different people, and I'm sure that even inside Cisco, when you say platform, maybe someone else say platform, it means like completely two different things. So, like, what is a platform? Like, when you say platform, what do you mean? And what maybe like makes like a platform more problematic or more error prone compared to another?
So I mean, I would call platform kind of like the underlying layer in on which applications and other things can be realized. So before 2015, in my career, I was involved in what you call on-premise type of platform settings, where you did like systems engineering. And fun enough, there was a platform engineering back in the day, which meant slightly different things. And then in 2015 I got involved in cloud platform and delivering SaaS. Um and what was the next question? What's
Like I wanted to understand from you like what is a good platform and maybe what is like a problematic platform. But let's go back to 2015,
2015?
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like when you
2015.
were yeah.
Yeah, so 2015, I so we initially had a charter around getting some of our media services in a from on-prem move to cloud. So I was involved with that for 1 year. And one of the best things happened. Actually, they canned the entire project and said, now repeat it in this different other cloud backend. To be honest, like it's a very good opportunity, because you get to do the same thing better the next time around. So in on premise, like we basically got like something that was taking you were like release cycles are like 12 months, 9 months, and doing builds and things, it was like a week's effort. We got in my first effort in 2015, got CI/CD part to about 2 weeks. Then in the next effort was like, okay, let's push this and really improve and try to do it in like 3 hours. So that was kind of interesting, going in that path, doing the same thing with slightly
Uh-huh.
different setting. So being able to kind of cut that 2 weeks into 3 hours, improving the process. So this is still with nothing involving containers. It was very much still you go on VMs and doing things on top of it. OpenStack, bit of AWS. And then, however, you went on the Docker journey afterwards. So very much adopting containers.
So so
Go
so
ahead.
when like did you guys or you like started to work with Kubernetes, right? Like I'm not sure like Cisco was like an early adopter, late adopter, like.
It wasn't. I mean, there has been pockets of playing going on. So one of the interesting is like 2016, 2018. I was running this media platform which is on containers with a completely bespoke orchestration system, and it was like centrally driven. You had like state machines and things that was like centrally managed. This thing was like doing like about 4,000 machines, which was interesting.
Yeah,
And
like a nice scale. Yeah.
Correct, right? And then the interesting thing was uh, Kubernetes. Like we had a problem of repeating environments, and there was an effort that happened called Spark X back in the day, and internal effort, and basically the entire kind of WebEx messaging environment was set up on a Kubernetes setup. So some folks, a small team, did this for about I think they spent a couple of months to do this, and it was like available. And this was kind of a almost like a big New Year present. This happened in January 2019, and I was like super excited, and essentially took that on. Set up Kubernetes ourselves, and we got it running in a integration environment. And then primarily because we when we were the kind of the feature we were testing back then, we took down integration for like few hundred, not few hundred actually, well, many hundreds engineers by kind of stressing some test and things, which kind of like brought integration apart, and then everybody was stuck, and that was a interesting situation. So to avoid that, we kind of set that up, and then we had it like very much for internal use case in 2018, most 2018 actually. And then, interestingly, then in 2019, I got, WebEx had a big incident where security was a concern, and, how, quickly we could bring things up was a concern. So I got an opportunity in 2019 to kind of like think about doing the platform using Kubernetes and other technologies. And this kind of went on for a few months, and really, and in funny enough, in March 2020, we didn't have any production clusters. So we were kind of getting ready with this platform in 20, March 2020. And then, COVID and the COVID response happened. So during that time, only we kind of really drove this transformation. And I remember my boss at the time was telling me, Hasith, don't try anything new. Just keep the lights off. Right? I was like,
Lights off.
okay, don't drop the ball. But then I was like, we don't want to kind of like go back. So let's really introduce Kubernetes cloud native, mostly because it was the kind of like you needed agility, right? So if you really look at the COVID response and everything that was going on, it's like so many unpredictable variables, right? In front of that, what you want in your tool chest is being able to scale fast and do things. And what was impressive was no Kubernetes production clusters, February 2020, May 2020, we had something like 56 or something, and quite a bit, and like a major transformation done that would have been like impossible. So that was like the kind of like it was crazy, but it was like a very good opportunity to get Kubernetes adopted and everybody excited. And so that was like, yeah.
So like it's a super interesting story because WebEx, in the end of the day, it's an enterprise product, right? Like enterprise product done by enterprise, sold to enterprise. Like it's not like like I would have guessed that it is hard to change the platform, right? Like in the end of the day, you have some like nice or very nice like moneymaker. There is, I would guess, like legacy code, legacy things that you have done, like in any enterprise product, right? That like accumulated over the years. How much time did it took you guys like doing this migration? weren't there like a big opposition somewhere inside of WebEx, like telling I see it like you're doing it wrong,
Yeah.
let's do something
So
else?
so it took about 3 years to get like most of WebEx basically cloud native and adopted into Kubernetes. But the interesting thing was that the first few months, uh, it was really like a very interesting moment because I had like a control over that stack, and we were very much very fluid. So in order to make capacity, room for like infrastructure and other cases, like you had kind of autonomy to do that, which was quite nice. In some ways, like uh, it's a very unique opportunity, like in your career, like COVID, because I remember like you know I'll give an example, right? On Friday we were taking like it was like 2,500 nodes in US East for this particular backend, right? Friday, because we had not done the subnets big enough, Friday we would destroy everything, redo the subnets, and bring everything up. And if you don't have it for Monday, we would be in a pickle basically. So like, and those type of things happened. It's almost like at my level of discretion. Obviously, you can't muck it up, and but then those type of decisions could happen. Provided you take ownership and do things properly. So it was like a very unique opportunity because today you can't think of anybody being allowed to kind of like do something like that because it'll be like or it's like you need to get GM to sign off on that type of a situation. So it was like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was
So no,
yeah,
like challenges like bring opportunities. I think and it's interesting. Like
exactly.
COVID, when COVID started, I just started like Commodore with Ben, so there wasn't like any production. So I must admit I didn't feel like a huge a huge change. And like you took the decision, it worked. Like, is there any story that you can share that wasn't that happy from that time, from migration to like Kubernetes? Any like big challenge or problem that you encountered? Like, I guess
I
there
mean,
must be at
okay,
least
like
one.
okay, let me tell you like one story, right? I think uh so we were like very aggressive during COVID time. So one was so we had a need to get an amount of things like done in AWS. So we sort of like Friday the decision was made, and we were trying to get it done by Monday. Obviously, it didn't need to happen, but this was like 500 nodes, five 5 or 6 clusters, right? So that was the first time we were trying to do it in AWS, right? And funny thing is, so we were obviously, based on some of the work that has happened, new Terraform, new Ansible playbooks, getting things up and running, like working. I mean, so like crazy hours, I think. And then I think the core team, we were like on Saturday, like up for like 36 hours at a stretch. And uh, and then the funny thing is, okay, we have everything like working built up, but rookie error in terms of the disk sizes. So default disk sizes, so they weren't set up. So after about like, so we are trying testing out, taking some traffic to validate or not. So it's like things are filling up and having issues, right? So that was like and then the team was tired. Obviously, it was a very aggressive thing to do, but then we had the options, and then I pulled the plug around uh you know uh you know to before US woke up. It was like actually um this is we couldn't do this, like use this, and then it wasn't the end of the world. We had other options, but that was like a thing we kind of but it was very aggressive, but then backed off. But the good thing was this, right? Once you live through something like that, then everybody rallied on, right? So it's almost like not everybody was involved in the weekend. So, and then everybody else on the team, they also jumped on to improve it. And then because we had kind of like lived through that pain, it was like we need this to be successful, right? And then was really pushing for it. And then we took another week to kind of like improve all the playbooks, like the issues we were having. And then we tried it next Monday, and it all like, worked out. So it's like a kind of like, in some ways, it was a crazy thing to try and attempt and do, but it's almost like it was one of those deciding moments. You need to kind of like sometimes, push and try to do it. And then even like,
Ah,
and then also call it out, right? When it's not working, it's like, okay,
no, it's
right?
like, yeah, I think people like, people who haven't done like ops in like a higher level in terms of like environment or production and scale don't understand how many different things can go wrong when you are trying to do it, especially if you are trying to be aggressive, especially if you are doing it for the first time. Like there are so many moving parts that need to
Yeah.
coordinate together in order to make it work. So, like the story, sounds super cool and interesting and very like novel, and I understand how something like that, even if sometimes it's not successful, does push you to the limit, push the team to the limit, and then like you become
Yeah.
stronger basically and better and better in what you do. So
Indeed.
it's a very cool story. So what happened after like WebEx, like, right, like you are in WebEx,
So
you move to Kubernetes, everyone was happy, you guys won,
yeah.
right?
Oh, I mean, the main thing is like, I think the convergence was like very, it was like a very challenging, right? So because I actually took ownership of a lot of things, a lot of legacy things, a lot of tooling and other thing, and like very much I took ownership to transform. So it's like really a, you know this is you know killing a lot of things, but then not actually making sure that you have the buy-in of the people and actually get them to understand why adopt cloud native, why is it better, why the tech is better, why is it good for their careers, and then really help everybody kind of like go from A to B. It's like a every team, every kind of you need to figure out how do you get everybody from A to B in order to make this transformation happen. So spent a couple of years there in that, and then I think when things are mature, and I think I kind of like knew when it was right time to move on, and then that's the time I uh, decide to do other things. We went to the CTO organization for a couple months, and then the Outshift opportunity came out. So I went, wanted to do that. So
So tell us a bit about about Outshift. Like I guess most people don't really know Outshift. What do you guys do? What do you do in Outshift? And share a bit about like what's the opportunity that you got back then.
yeah, so interesting thing about Outshift is Cisco's incubation engine. So uh, our charter is to really try to innovate new ventures, and both technology, the business, see how it fits the market, see how it fits Cisco, and then really get product market fit, and then scale it up, hand over to Cisco to scale it up, right? So that's kind of a high level charter. And in Outshift, so I got the opportunity towards end of 2023, very much to lead all of platform engineering. So everything, so whether it's infrastructure, cloud strategy, so all the things around platform engineering. And I also got the CISO angle as well. So kind of like the security aspect of it as well. So the empowerment and the stake, that's also a nice combination to have. And because of that, I decide to take that role. The team was primarily working in an SRE fashion. So very much because you are a lot of ventures you know pulled in 15, 20 different directions. So very much I rebooted things to, okay, we need to change from SRE to platform engineering. Think like a platform engineering team. Made some process improvements, and then also with the new innovation and things happening, also want to do very much be on the chair of, okay, how is AI going to impact this domain, and very much be in the driving seat to kind of like, okay, how can we use AI to solve some of the problems we have? Because one of the fascinating things is I've met so many people, both teams I have dealt with, and in the industry as well. And it's hard being a DevOps, SRE, a platform person has become super super hard just because of all the complexity, cognitive load, and you know
Mhm.
you don't have work life balance. You could depending on the situation, it's crisis. If you're not there, I mean, if something is blocked, and so there's a lot of like stress associated with this, right? And then it's like easily, I mean, like, for cognitive load, it's like you're not going to know the system, right? It's like you need to be comfortable. I'm not going to be able to understand all the things or even have a picture, and then like being able to navigate it is the your skill, right? If you can't do that, then you can't be a successful as a SRE or a DevOps, right? um so yeah, so that's the uh, kind of a nutshell. And
So we, like maybe share a bit about like in of the day we are saying like Outshift here, right? But Outshift is something that is quite distributed, right? I'll give like a full disclosure. Outshift is like a Commodore customer, right? So I know a bit about how you guys work, but it's not like I don't know, like WebEx has like one main product. I don't know, like WebEx, the chat, I guess, and everyone are aligned on top of that. You guys are much more like an incubation center, right? Like a lot of different teams, different KPI, different speed. Like, well, like how is it different? And coming back to the beginning, you talked about your experience on building platform. How do you build a platform for like such a diverse
the
like setup?
yeah, I mean, the Outshift, the interesting thing was like it's the you have a lot of creativity and innovation, right? And then so when I looked at it on platform, the thing is, guys, why are you guys doing Kafka in 5 different ways, right? It's like it's like it's a wrong thing to innovate on, right? So it's like that's where the really the platform engineering aspect comes in. We really want to, the way to go really fast and accelerate is to, okay, what are the common building blocks? What do we need to put in the foundation? You do that really well at the platform engineering domain. And then, everybody could spend their creativity in the right place about how do you advance the technologies, how do you push the boundaries, how do you make the business logic better, and those type of things, without while leveraging core capabilities. Because otherwise what happens is in normal any situation, everybody likes to do it their own way, and then
Yeah,
it's not
yeah. I
fully
think
done.
it's
And yeah,
one of like and even if we'll take this Kafka as an example, like the
yeah,
problem which exists in a lot of enterprises. On one hand, you want your teams to be self-sufficient, right? You have like a
right.
really good developer, is a Kafka expert, and he says like I can POC with it. I don't know, like in a day and in a week everything will work. Uh, and it doesn't really want to be bounded to the enterprise Kafka, whatever that is maybe like more bloated and has some security
Yep.
things and whatever. Like there's always this question of how much as a platform, right? Like you give away to your customers compared to are you forcing them? Like currently, like in Outshift, if for example I want to use something that is already offered to me by the main team, am I forced to use your Kafka in this example,
I
or
mean, we
it's
are trying to sound so like kind of like I think when I stepped into the role, it was interesting. Like we had more cloud accounts than we had people. I mean, like
Mhm, mhm.
it's like the ratio
Cloud
doesn't
accounts are
quite
only
work,
going up.
right? Like,
It's like it's
sorry.
only go. You never delete. You never delete it.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, when you kind of then I mean, it's great. Like if you're in your uh, yeah, autonomy and like okay, it's good that we are able to facilitate that type of things, but at the same time, currently, we've put a IDP, like sound like okay, 3 accounts here, like so you can follow these things, and then you're kind of like empowering them because your second you create a new cloud account or like anything that you create, yes, you have autonomy to do this. One, you need the expertise to understand some of those aspects, and you also create a lot of day two and other problems as well, even if you're going fast, right? So when you platform, make it a platform and kind of like give everybody a kind of a common foundation, they could one go faster and also kind of like cross the silos a little bit, because what happens is like when you give everybody autonomy completely, they all are very different, right? How you do it, then they can't even like collaborate and kind of like leverage each other's innovation. I mean, I'll take a simple example of Git repositories or something, right? Like why some companies have really gone down the path of monorepos is like it's
We have
otherwise
monorepo.
yeah,
Commodore is a
exactly, right.
monorepo company.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
it,
like it helps, right?
it helps. Like people like I feel like don't like underestimate like how much this like decision can help or harm like the company. Like even and you are like Git. In the end of the day, like you have three repos, or you have one repo that encapsulates all of the three of them. Why is there such a big a difference? But there is like
Yeah,
there is again for better or worse. There is. Um, I see it. We don't have a lot of time, and I know that you
yeah,
have a
sure,
lot
sure.
of thoughts on maybe like the future and where our platform going. Right, like we have the current state. Kubernetes is
Yeah,
stabilized, right? Like it's one battle. Everyone is building something on top of Kubernetes, but
yeah.
maybe share with me like in a couple of years from now, what do you think will be the biggest changes in platform, or like where are we going at?
Yeah. So I can really see AI being a solution, and also being a big part of the platform side. And the reason is simply because things have gotten so complex that it's really like in some ways for us, as platform SMEs, it's hard to kind of be very effective at our jobs because of all the complexity. So that's one aspect of it. And then the other problem is trying to be like platform engineering. We've effectively put a bottleneck, right? So and that way, yes, while we are doing all of this, we are slowing things down deliberately. So now the solution to this is actually AI. I'm kind of a believer that AI has the solution. In fact, we have been doing an effort called Jarvis internally, and agentic platform engineering, really looking at how far we can push the boundaries here, and the results have been like been phenomenal. Like particularly with a lot of knowledge side of things, because most of the time
But
people ask you a lot of. Go ahead, yeah.
no. Just because you said the results are like very good, how do you measure the
Yeah.
result, right? Like, and I felt that you are going
Yeah.
to answer something like that, but you have your bot, it does
Yeah.
things. How do I know if
Yeah.
it was like a epic success or I don't know, like a failure or something in between, right? Like, what's the KPIs or measurement?
Yeah, I mean, right now we are really looking at the usage metrics and kind of have
Mm-hmm.
like very effective feedback loops around whether it was able to help or not. And then, like from a team point of view, what we are seeing is like it's a lot of like operations work that, and also like answering questions and hand holding that AI could really front and help with us. Because the thing is, like I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many times I have done this, like. Over my years, sometimes I've given the answer and it's in the same, like I'm repeating the answer in the same chat, like, after some time. And like, it's like so it's like, that's not a good use of SREs or a engineer's time. And, it doesn't give you job satisfaction, right? So putting, um, AI to intercept these things and like being helpful and, pointing the documentation and have it, those type of things. And as long as you can do it with, high degree of accuracy, that's going to really give, SREs and platform engineers more kind of time to do, automation and other interesting things, right? So that's really, where like these things can help. And then the other thing is, fundamentally nothing has changed here. Like with platform engineering, you're trying to do self-service, right? So the power is like once you put like something like LangGraph and like a recent act type of a loop on top of that, it actually makes the whole experience a lot more powerful. And beyond what you put, something people could type into a form, putting some of those elements, it can be very powerful. So one thing we have done there is we are using reasoning for our sort of self service tooling, along with some dynamic aspects of forms. That way, people can actually, it makes them easier to use. Was like, even like, okay, here are the forms, and like, just go fill it, right? Because
Yeah.
you know the big thing I think AI has changed is like one of the fundamental things is we've changed the interface, right? Where it used to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
you had to know how to code, you had to like, you had to be very technical. So we've kind of like simplified all of this into natural language, which is like it's the interface change literally, right? So that's pretty powerful.
I'll ask one follow up because you said like another word, like you talked about like KPI and like measurement or success. Now you said the word like precision. Like, how do you know you're like that you're precise, right? Like, it's very easy to AI. You'll ask me a question: how do I don't know, like connect to Kafka from my local host? And like agent can lie. They will tell you, oh, we need a VPN, whatever, whatever. But in reality, like there's nothing to do with VPN and so on. So how do you
Uh,
keep track on the on like the accuracy
So so couple
of
of things, right? I
the
think
hmm?
like main thing is like, yeah, the problem, big problem with the LLMs are like they are like very confident, and they'll tell you
Mm-hmm.
like stuff
Yeah,
not good things in a and very confident, right? And I think the main thing is it's really almost like, especially when we have like, more complex, recent act type of loops, the scoping the problem and to be more precise, like those type of things has helped. Like, so it's really, how do you uh, kind of, create your, you know, uh, graph, embeddings and things like, in such a way that you kind of, scope the problem to be small, right? In some ways, like we've actually experimented this using like very big models. Sometimes produces more inaccurate answers. So it's really good when you want to kind of like um, reason something complex. But then if you're trying to get to like a precise technical answer, it's actually better to use like the smaller models that are like,
interesting.
less likely to hallucinate and go wrong, right? And then you get like, high accuracy. So yeah, it's not,
It's
there are challenges, right? That I think that's the, yeah.
well, we just like I'm just like releasing now like a comparison that I did of DeepSeek is like super trendy. Like we're talking now in
Mm.
February 2025. DeepSeek is DeepSeek, right? Like this is how you pronounce
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is is super trendy. So I tried it and I got one very like shitty response and another
Yeah.
hallucination. And I'm using like the same prompts, the same data. It's like I did DeepSeek versus Claude versus Llama, like
Uh-huh.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And like DeepSeek was very bad. Like it hallucinate without even like thinking about it. So it does like make me think because I usually, because in Commodore we are very like Kubernetes, you need a lot of context, so small models are a bit problematic. But now I do wonder if I'll take like a smaller model, will I get like a more accurate result for some of those things? So,
So,
just sharing. Mhm.
yeah, so we did some code generation, but for that we are actually using a combined approach. We are using like
Mm.
LLMs and symbolic AI kind of in conjunction, using so that kind of is working well. So we can do like it's better, like, better than O1 accuracy we have, and we are improving it with the data and other things we have. So that's been kind
Okay.
of an interesting experiment, like but yeah.
Uh, the space is crazy, and the velocity of things like that are moving is even like faster. So I said, like any final words, like something that you want
The,
to like say to our listeners, audience.
no, I mean, the other big thing is it's really the AI agents like talking. I know this is something,
Yeah.
you know, people freak out about it, but I am like genuinely excited because what you have is, you know, pockets of like expertise that are going to be like, you know, what that we are going to see as agents, and then data, right? Because fundamentally, like one of the big problems is, you know, data is not like usable everywhere, and it's like it's going to be in pockets. And so we are going to have like, you know, the fact that, you know, there will be a lot of these machine, you know, agents who are going to be experts on certain domains with data, and then being able to talking to each other. Those type of things, I think, is going to be quite fascinating. Kind of like, you know, improving, you know, what type of solutions can be changed, you know, solved and whatnot. So here's where like I'm like super excited about Jarvis and Claudia talking, and yeah, so we'll see. So
I think it's I think like it's like one of the things that people are like now talking both around agent to agent communication, but will in the end there be like one super huge model, right, that will do like a lot of things, or a lot of dedicated models that will like interact with one another, and like one model will be able to utilize other models. Because again, the problem is like a lot of the time hallucinations, and like too much context is bad context, and this like
yeah,
specialty of having something that is very good on like code creation, uh, frees the other agent that calls it like to know nothing about code creation, because he got it covered. A bit like microservices, but in like it's like micro agents. I don't know, like maybe
yeah,
it's like a
I
term.
think it's gonna be micro agents. Like this is literally maybe we're just going
Udi,
to
we need
see that
to
happening.
trademark it if you are listening.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Okay, I think I think that with that we will finish the episode. And yeah, thank you very much for being here.
It's been a pleasure, Ital. Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes.
Kubernetes for humans.